Welcome back to Keep Your Daydream. Today we're going to be talking about true towing capacity, which means we're going to break down GVWR, GCVWR, axle ratings, payload, and then towing capacity. We're going to cover that last because, frankly, it's the least important number. By the way, this could be the most boring video KYD has ever released. At the same time, it's probably one of the most important videos, so stay tuned. The chances are high that your truck salesman is not going to know the true towing capacity of your truck, and the reason is they're only looking at the towing capacity from the manufacturer's marketing sheets. In order to really understand towing capacity, you have to compare at least 4 numbers, if not more, specifically to your rig. Now, the thumbnail and title of this video was not misleading. You may be surprised to find out that our 28-foot travel trailer weighing 9,200 pounds has put our 2017 Ford F-250 6.7-liter diesel 4x4 standard bed over its gross weight capacity by 280 pounds. Anytime we do a video with technical information, we have a corresponding blog. This way, if I misspeak or if there's something that I forget after the fact, we can correct it and add it to the blog. So if GVWR is an important topic to you, or if you're looking to buy a new truck or a new trailer, head on over to keepyourdaydream.com/payload for even more information. And by the way, if you only tune into KYD for all the destinations we visit and you have no interest in GVWR, then skip this video and we will see you this Sunday at 6 p.m. for another episode in Colorado. When learning anything new, we have to be able to define it. When you hear all these acronyms, it would be easy for it to sound like it's really not as complicated as it sounds. And to make things a little easier, I'm going to provide you a beautiful whiteboard of some of the places that we visited through our dash cam in season 4 of this channel. Let's start with curb weight, and I'm going to use this truck as an example throughout this video. So the curb weight is how much the truck weighs sitting on the curb with no one in it, no cargo, and no load, with all of the standard options from the manufacturer. The weight of this truck, the curb weight of this truck, is 7,885 pounds. Now let's talk about GVW, the gross vehicle weight, which many people confuse with curb weight. The gross vehicle weight is how much this truck weighs as it sits here right now with me in it. So it's the curb weight plus my weight and this computer, phone, bottle of water, etc. Now this is a good time to mention not to use this as the standard weight for an F-250, and here's why. This is a 4x4 diesel standard bed. A diesel engine weighs roughly 1,100 pounds alone, about 700 more pounds than a gas engine, which means a diesel truck is going to have 700 pounds less payload than a gas truck. This is a standard bed, which is lighter than a long bed. It's 4x4, which is heavier than a 2x4, so you kind of get the point. Now let's look at GVWR. This is the gross vehicle weight rating. This is the maximum amount of weight your truck is rated for. The GVWR of this truck is 10,000 pounds. You can find this number on the driver's door panel next to your VIN number. Now let's talk about gross combined vehicle weight rating. All we've done is added a C for combined. This is the maximum amount of weight your truck is rated for, including your towable RV. This truck has a GCVWR of 25,700. So that's this truck plus my towable can't exceed that number. To find your gross combined vehicle weight rating, you need to go to your manufacturer's website, download the official fleet towing guide, look up your particular truck. If it's a half-ton, 3/4 ton, 1 ton, if it's a single wheel or a dual wheel, then you need to find your axle ratio. To find your axle ratio, you go to the sticker on your door next to your VIN. You look up the axle code. Then you go to the internet with that axle code and it'll tell you your gear ratio. Based upon your gear ratio, will tell you your towing capacity and your gross combined vehicle weight rating. GAWR, gross axle weight rating. Your GAWR is the maximum allowable weight that a single axle, front or rear, can carry. This truck has a GAWR of 5,200 pounds in the front and 6,340 pounds in the back. You can find your GAWR on the sticker on your door next to your VIN. Now let's talk about payload or cargo carrying capacity. This is perhaps one of the most important numbers to know. This is the maximum amount of people, cargo, and load you can put on your truck before exceeding the GVWR, the previous number. This truck has a payload of only 2,115. Now let's talk about the unloaded vehicle weight. This applies to your towable RV. This is how much your rig weighs when it's unloaded. But there's a couple important things to know. Your UVW typically does not include your propane tanks and may not include your batteries. It just depends on what the manufacturer considers to be unloaded. The other thing that's important to mention is that your RV salesperson loves to talk about the unloaded weight. When you ask them how much a rig weighs, they're going to tell you the unloaded weight. So here's a rule. If you have not rolled your rig onto a cat scale and you don't know the exact weight of your rig, assume it's the gross weight vehicle rating located on the sticker on the side of your rig. Chances are you're going to end up pretty close to that number anyway. When it comes to towable trailers, there's not a lot of available payload. We receive emails all the time from people that say they're just not going to put that much stuff in their RV. And the fact is, once you get on the road, you are. Okay, now that we have everything defined, let's do some GVWR math. I told you that our 28-foot travel trailer weighing at 9,200 pounds put our F-250 over its gross by 280 pounds. So now let's actually see that in action so you can see exactly how that happened. For this, I'm going to screen record my computer, and I've got an Excel sheet that I made to break this down so it makes it even easier to understand. The curb weight of this truck is 7,885 pounds. Now I know this because I specifically went to a cat scale and weighed this truck empty, and I verified that to the number that's on the door panel, which it lined up. Okay, the GVWR of this truck is 10,000 pounds. Now let's take a look at the GCVWR, and I got this number directly from the Ford Towing Guide, and that for this truck is 25,700. The payload for this truck is 2,115, and the towing capacity is 15,000 pounds. Conventional. It's 15,400 fifth wheel. Now let's take a look at our passengers. We travel with 5 people, my wife and 3 kids, and combined we're 695 pounds. We have a little bit more cargo in the winter than we do in the summer, and we probably have a little bit more cargo than a weekender because we're full-time. So we're about 300 pounds in the bed of the truck. So we have 995 pounds in the bed of the truck. Now let's plug in the numbers to Ginger, and if you're new around here, that's our 28-foot travel trailer. So the unloaded vehicle weight of Ginger is 6,400 pounds, and the gross weight of Ginger, the maximum rating, is 10,900 pounds, and the hitch weight is 1,400. So this hitch weight of 1,400 pounds gets added to the payload of who's in the truck and what's in the bed, and that gets deducted from the available payload, which is 2,115. So we can see now that we're over our available payload 280 pounds, and we're over our gross vehicle weight rating by 280 pounds. There's some important things to mention. One is we have a lot of passengers. If you are RVing with just 2 people, and let's say your weight was 350 pounds, you'd have 65 pounds of payload to spare. Let's say you didn't have 300 in the bed. Let's say you only had 100 pounds of things in your bed. You'd have 265 pounds of payload to spare. So do you remember when Trish and I went to California and we were standing out in front of the Grand Design Momentum 351, and I said,
what do you like about it?
What I like about it is that it's probably our next rig. That's what I like about it most.
Way to give away.
Well, let's take the specs for that rig and let's connect it up to this truck. So the first thing we would do is go to the Grand Design website, find the Momentum 351, and here are all the specs. It has an unloaded vehicle weight of 13,600 pounds, a hitch weight of 2,785, and a gross vehicle weight rating of 16,500. Let's go plug those numbers into this over here. It's important to change our cargo down from 300 to probably 100 because it's a toy hauler and we'd probably have less things in the bed. But even that, we're still over our payload by 1,465 pounds. Not even close. And that means we're over our gross vehicle weight rating by the same amount. We're actually within the limits of our gross combined because this truck has a gross combined of 25,700. So we're right on the fence there, but we're over our towing capacity by at least 1,500 pounds. Now I know there's going to be comments about people towing a 15,000 pound rig with their 3/4 ton truck with no problems. From a performance perspective and even a towing capacity perspective, you could be within the limits. But from a GVWR perspective, that's where the issue comes in. We're going to talk in a little bit about the consequences of being over your GVWR. But first, let's take a look at this same rig with an F350. So for this, I have a little truck data sheet where I've listed all of the trucks based upon like a 350 and then a 350 dually. This is important. Do not use these numbers. These numbers are VIN specific. This is not what all 250s weigh. This is not what all 350s weigh. This is specific to the equipment and the standard options on these particular trucks. But I'm using these as an example for this. So if we look at an F350 diesel with a single rear wheel 4x4 standard bed, I'm going to copy those weights into here. We can see that we're still a hair bit over our payload, even with a 1-ton truck. Now, to be fair, there's 5 of us. A lot of people are not traveling around with 5 people in the cab. 350 pounds. Okay, then we have a green light. We have extra payload, we're under our GVWR, and we're under our combined, and we're under our towing capacity. Now, just for fun, let's go back to this truck, the 3/4 ton F250, and let's hook up to a standard 5th wheel, maybe for like a 29-footer for a couple. So the 5th wheel for this example has a unloaded weight of 8,600, a gross weight of 10,995, and a hitch weight of 1,538. With a 3/4 ton truck, and it's a couple, so 350 pounds, 100 pounds in the bed, maybe even less than that. We have available payload. We're under our GVWR, we're under our combined GVWR, and we're under our towing capacity. So the 3/4 ton truck could be the ideal truck for a lot of travel trailers and a lot of standard 5th wheels. It's when we start creeping up into the bigger toy haulers and the bigger 5th wheels that there starts to become a payload issues with these trucks. Now let's take a look at the dually. So a 2017 350 6.7 liter diesel is going to have a curb weight of roughly 9,000 pounds, could be a little more than that. A gross vehicle weight rating of 14,000, combined 36, 5,200 payload. This is specifically off of a truck. I walked into a dealer and took a picture of the sticker, and the towing capacity from the towing guide of 27,300. So I'm going to copy these numbers. As you can see, adding those 2 additional tires creates a lot more payload capacity, and as a result, we have excess payload capacity. We're under our GVWR, we're under our combined, and we have tons of spare towing capacity. So when it starts getting up into those bigger rigs, it's hard to deny dually being the right choice of truck. What's the consequence of being over your GVWR? Well, one is that it's the safety to you and potentially the drivers around you. The second potential risk is that depending on the state that you live in, or depending on the state that you're traveling in, you could roll across a sign where they're asking all RVs to pull over and weigh. Now, they're not going to come out and look up on the internet what the towing capacity of your truck and say, hey, you're within the towing capacity limits of your truck. They're going to look at 1, maybe 2 numbers. They're going to go right here and they're going to look at the GVWR of your truck, and they're going to look at the GVWR of the trailer, and they're going to compare those to the number on the scale right in front of them. I have no idea how much the ticket is for being over your gross, but I would imagine it's probably not cheap. The third potential issue is you can jeopardize your warranty. Again, the chances of the dealership knowing that you've been towing over gross is probably pretty slim, but it could happen. The worst case scenario of being over gross is that you get into an accident and someone gets hurt. Let's say an attorney was involved and it was known that you were over your gross. In that case, it's highly likely that your insurance company would say, good luck with that, and you'd be liable for everything. Now, we get emails all the time, should I buy the truck first or should I buy the RV first? Now, you know, if you've been watching KWD for a long time, that our philosophy is start with where you are. If you already have a truck, then go out and find the best possible RV for the truck you already have. But if you have neither and you're wondering which to buy first, my vote is to start with the RV. And here's why. When you go RV shopping and you really start looking around and you start comparing different rigs to each other, you'll likely end up in a different rig than what you initially started out to go find. And once you have that rig in your possession, you're going to be able to pair the right truck to that rig. Plus, buying a truck can be a little bit easier. I know you can do it within just a few days, where the RV buying process can sometimes take a little bit longer. So now the question might be on your mind, what are we going to do? Are we going to sell this truck and go buy a dually? Or are we going to go find a rig that provides us a little bit more space, that's suitable for the family, that has a tongue weight of less than 1,140 pounds. Also, if you learned even one thing, hit that like button and let me know in the comments below what you learned. And don't forget to go to keepyourdaydream.com/payload for even more information, updates, corrections, and other resources that might be helpful to you. Otherwise, we'll see you this Sunday, 6 p.m. Mountain Time.